All right, guys, welcome to the one of the year-end episodes, we'll call it, of 900 Pro Shop. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to review all the balls pretty much that came out in the 2024 calendar year. I'm going to go through everything I've thrown, some pieces I didn't get to throw, some pieces where I kind of did some research, probably similar to something I already currently have, so I didn't throw, and then some pieces where I threw other people's of. So just a kind of debrief of the year's releases from the Brunswick balls that came out throughout the year. So let's kind of hop right into it. So right now, this Hammer Anger, I'm going to put it right here. Oh, it's popped up. Hammer Anger, it's in the bag. Right now, the statuses that I have, or the 5 options I have here is, first of all, goated, in the bag, in and out of the bag, didn't try but wanted to, and didn't try. So goated means it's a ball I probably drilled multiple balls of, or something that, I just haven't replaced it at all. It stays in the bag forever. In the bag means it's currently in the arsenal. It's pretty much being used when I'm looking for specific motion or reaction, and it's confidently coming with me to tournaments and stuff like that. In and out of the bag are ball pieces that I liked, like the shape of, used it in league, used it in tournaments, but they fluctuate in and out pretty quickly. It could be, something came out pretty similar. I'm drilling new balls all the time, of course. It's being replaced pretty often, and it's just in and out of it. It's just, it was good, but it wasn't like, oh, I haven't been able to replace this piece or this ball at all in any way. And then as simple and as explained here, didn't try but wanted to. Could be, it's similar from ball to ball, and I just didn't need immediately a replacement for it, and it came out at the same time. I know some of these ball manufacturers, they come out with quite a lot of balls, and not everyone has the luxury, even I do, that I can drill so many balls throughout the year, where, the cost of balls are getting expensive, and it's just, didn't have the opportunity to try, and that's why I'm trying to create these lists and these ball reviews, so everyone can kind of make their investments a little bit more worth their while, and it kind of last them a little longer based on what I think and what other people see out of the shape, to make sure it's what you're looking for. And then strictly didn't try. Could be other reasons. Maybe it's just like a matchup problem with myself based on what I'm seeing from the numbers, the core, the cover, or just simple, like, it's not something that caught my eye, or maybe I have too many ASIMs in the bag. I know that at one point I had a lot of ASIMs in my bag, and I just simply didn't need another ASIM so it didn't even, bat my eye to kind of go for it. But let's go back to it. So I said the Hammer Anger, it's in the bag. Like it a lot right now. Symmetrical pearl, right in the middle of the bag. Kind of in between that Hazmat Original. I know that one was a hybrid, but it's very clean, so it's like that, but a little bit more shape off the back. Next one I got here, Brunswick Infinity. So I didn't try, and it's kind of hovering between these two right now, between didn't want to and just straightly didn't try. But I'm going to put it right here. The reason is, and I'm going to put the ball I know that it was similar with, is the Outer Limits Pearl. If I can drag it to in and out of bag. So I had the Outer Limits Pearl at the time, and that ball, well, actually that's my most recent 300. So that was a really good ball, and that ball and the Infinity, it kind of matched up. It's in that lower tier asymmetrical shape, so it's not the super high-end first ball out of the bag kind of idea, and it's got that pearl cover stock that kind of went out there, and it kind of really came back, and it's kind of in between that before you go into the sim stuff, if you want to get a little bit of an earlier mid lane. So it was kind of like these two balls were kind of on top of each other, didn't really need to go into that Beyond Infinity and then that Outer Limits as well. So I had the two of them, and the Outer Limits, it was in and out of the bag. A lot of ASIMs came in and out, and that'll lead me to, and I know I'm jumping around here, but that'll lead me to this ball that I'm going to put in the goated section here. So the Hammer Effect, it's currently in my arsenal once again for the 3rd time, and that's why it's goated, because if I'm looking for a shape that I can't recreate and I need to go back and drill that same ball, that's goated status in my opinion, right? So I'm Hammer Effect, and the reason I retired my Outer Limits, and that's why it's in and out of the bag, was because the Hammer Effect was there. Endeavor, didn't try, never had the opportunity to. The reason is, personally, I don't drill too many Brunswick specific balls, matchup problem, or maybe the shape I'm personally looking for. Brunswick balls compared to like the hammer balls, of course, where I'm more accustomed to throwing, the hammer balls are more skid flippy, right? The Brunswick balls are more mid lane, earlier, smoother. So for me to kind of get a shape which I want to move left with and kind of get the ball to flip back, sometimes the Brunswick balls don't 100% match up with me as much. So simply because of that, I didn't even bother trying. But that was one of the balls. Ethos. This is the Ethos Hybrid. Currently, it's in this section, but I'm debating on drilling one. So I really want to drill this one. A lot of the reviews look really, really good. I did try the original Ethos, and the original Ethos was giving me that Brunswick shape that I said earlier. It was kind of too smooth, and it wasn't really giving me that left to right shape. And then if I get too far left with the polished on the original Ethos Pearl, and then it came off too sharp, because if I try to get it further down lane, it actually did go a lot further right to left as soon as it hit the friction. So kind of got trapped a little bit with the original Ethos, and then that's why the Ethos Hybrid with the stronger cover does intrigue me to kind of give it a try, because simply put, I don't think there's too many solid benchmark balls right now in the market. So everyone wants one, right? A solid benchmark ball. And that'll make me jump around once more, because this is what mine is right now. And that's the Hazmat Solid. So that came out a little bit earlier, or mid-year, we'll call it, in the June, July-ish area. Hazmat Solid came out, and that is still up to today my medium benchmark ball. One of the slowest balls off the spot for me, so it's kind of slow, so it predicts the mid lane and predicts the back end very well for me, blends everything out. So it kind of tells me, hey, I need more shape, less shape, earlier, later. So it kind of, that's what a benchmark ball is used. Not necessarily is it always being the ball thrown, but it gives me the most information. And that's why my Hazmat Ball's goated. And then that's why I wanted to try the Ethos Hybrid, and I may or may not drill it, is because maybe I want that to replace it. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. Intense Mindset. Didn't try. This one, it's kind of hovering, because drilled it recently, been pretty happy with it. Ivory Rhino Pro. Comparing it to the original Rhino remake, the teal. The teal to me was a little too early. The cover stock was probably a little too strong. So it burnt out in the mid lane a little bit too much. And if I got too left with it, it looked like it was not giving me enough right to left motion to kind of come back and corner and kick with the pins. So Ivory Rhino Pro, Pearl version, so just delayed that shape a little bit more, and it's been pretty good. I've been using this in league a lot, especially with the friction we see here in our home center. So able to kind of hover around 2.5, third arrow a lot longer, where the ideal breakpoint being 7, 8. So just lets me sit in that spot a little longer than the rest of my stuff, and just gives me a little bit more energy, because it's Pearl, getting further down lane, retaining energy, because when we're bowling a house shot, we're more worried about carry than anything, right? So just how to get the ball, retaining energy, and throwing it. So currently that is in my bag. And so is, actually no, this one I didn't get to try, but wanted to. I did throw one of my partner's ball. He did have a Mesmerize, super strong, super early, but the best part about it, it still went right to left. I don't see it on this list here. Well, that's on my goated list, but we'll fix it. Okay, Jamie just fixed it for me here. Pure Envy. So the reason I didn't drill that Mesmerize isn't because it was a bad ball. It was actually very similar to my Pure Envy. I know the Pure Envy's hybrid, the Mesmerize solid, so we're talking about maybe a little bit earlier, later, like a half a foot, whatever, depending on the layout and all that as well. But the Pure Envy was the same thing. And there's going to be a third ball here that I'm going to put, and it was the exact same reason why I didn't drill it. That's the track criterion. So all three of these balls have the new HK22C cover. And that cover itself, I believe, or the additive they added in that cover, I just think it's the strongest right to left, while these three balls are one of the strongest balls early as well. So having these three balls being early and not burning out right to left, it's very rare to see. But the three balls are pretty much overlapping each other. And I've been loving the pure envy. Why did I need to drill the other two? That's the only reason I didn't drill the other two. But in the case that I didn't have the pure envy, or if I choose to retire the pure envy, yeah, would I replace it with the other two? Sure, by all means, right? Like that's the luxury of having all these brands as well, right? Like sometimes these balls do overlap, obviously, because there's so many balls in the market over the years, and that's pretty much what happened, right? So the pure envy is goated for sure, in my opinion. I can start on that on most fresh conditions if there's enough oil. If your fresh condition doesn't have too much oil, you're in a bowling alley or a bowling center that has less volume to start, maybe you can't even use it. But if I'm bowling in anything that I'm lacking hook, I can always sand it a little bit to make sure it starts. And once it starts, it's probably the hookiest ball out of my bag. And sometimes it does get me in trouble because it hooked too much or it's too sharp, and I'm not chasing it far enough left. But if I'm just looking for a hook, there hasn't been anything like it. Well, other than the Mesmerize and the Criterion, which I haven't drilled. Next one, I believe this one is the Defender Hybrid? Or is this the Defender Pearl? So I'm actually going to put this as here. So same idea, the Defender line was before the Mindset, so same reason as I said before, the Intense Mindset. Didn't feel like it was the shape for me, didn't really get the chance to try. I have ASIMs in my bag already, pretty picky like I said, didn't need to. This one, I actually want to put it all the way up there, but I can't lie about it because I didn't actually own one. This is the Brunswick Vaporize. But if I needed a pearl that, ASIM pearl that hooks, I think that's definitely the shape. Really, really good ASIM pearl shape. I know a lot of staffers and a lot of local bowlers that drilled one has loved it. A lot of shape, very easy to read. Black balls are usually goated as well, so. This one's the Atlas. Same reason with most of the ASIMs. You'll see a lot of my didn't try stuff are ASIM stuff. It's just because I had too many ASIMs in the bag majority of the time, and it really needed to blow me away with the reviews or something like that for me to really, really give it a chance, because Hammer's come up with probably one of the best ASIMs in my opinion of the last while. With the effects, with the envies, and even the widows, right? So that's 3 lines of ASIMs that I've been kind of juggling with, and I didn't need to try. Kaboom, a partner in the shop also drilled one of these, threw it, pretty good. I would say if I needed it a similar shape, it's probably closer to comparable to maybe a little bit more shape than a Rhino Pro, less than the Anger, more like an original hazmat kind of shape. So that's the clean, smooth shape that some people are looking for. Doesn't feel like it's going too hard right to left, so it's kind of relatively smooth for a Pearl, which is not easy to find. So I mean, a lot of people that like to drill Columbia balls, I think I personally liked it or was intrigued by it because it had a research core in there. Messenger, weaker ball, entry level, maybe just a hair under the vibe, close to the vibe, depending on which Messenger you drilled. Wasn't really looking for that shape. It's rare that I need stuff in that spot, and it just never really got the chance to try it. Didn't really feel like the need for it. CUDA. I really wanted to drill the original first CUDA, the solid, because I was looking for a solid early benchmark ball. So that's the one I wanted to try, and because I also didn't, it never really intrigued me to try the Pearl or the hybrid. This one being the hybrid, a little bit shinier ball piece. Usually, like I said, for the other stuff, I like the mid-lane stuff, early mid-lane stuff, so never wanted a piece in that spot because it felt like the core was strong enough where it could be like a Widow. Maybe a Widow's a little stronger still, and it wasn't weak enough to move left with, like my Anger or my Scorpion Strike that I'm gonna put up here as well. And it just kind of got trapped in between that, wanted to try, not wanted to try, and it felt like it closed too small of a gap in my arsenal. Deviate Chill Pearl, I think this one, yep, that's the Chill Pearl. So Chill Pearl, I think that's the Deviate low mid-tier line, Chill. Pearl makes it obviously a lot cleaner, a lot sharper. Same reason with like the Messenger and even some of the other stuff. not really what I'm usually looking for. Especially when I go to tournaments and stuff like that, it's too clean, too quick, too sharp. Not really what I'm looking for, but for the people that's looking for a ball that can keep you straighter and further down lane before it makes that hard right to left shape, it's really good. I've seen a couple of lefties throw it. One of our guys here, Nick, he throws it. Looks really good because it allows them to stay a little bit more left longer and creates the angle left to right, so it allows the lefties to kind of get a more down and in shape up the track. Hater, I'll hover it between these two, but realistically speaking, it's one of those ASIMs I didn't need to try. On to the next. Mantra. Really wanted to try this one, didn't end up doing it simply because I had a Black Widow in my bag. Did I need something to replace the Black Widow? Not at the moment. I really like my 3.0. I still had a 2.0 too, so it's like I already had a 3.0 and a 2.0. Where's the Mantra gonna sit? Like either right in between or replacing one of them, and it just seemed like I didn't really need that shape. But at the same time, it's a shape I look for in the bag because I have the Widows 2.0 and 3.0 there, and I'll just immediately drag that 3.0 as in the bag. And that's 3.0 is still with me, except it's with me in Hong Kong. So it's a little bit sad that I don't get to throw it, but I left it there because I can always go back to it whenever I need it because I trust that motion so well. Troublemaker Pearl, didn't try. Surprised I didn't try this one because I really like the original Troublemaker. Original Troublemaker hybrid, really smooth and benchmarky for a hybrid, and it was one of those balls where I could kind of pull it out similar to that Hazmat Solid, might be a little quicker than that Hazmat Solid, and it worked really well. So Troublemaker Pearl, I think the only reason that made me not try it was I don't drill too many pearls, maybe 3, 4 a year. I know that sounds like it's a lot, but you gotta remember I'd probably drill like maybe anywhere from 15 to 20 balls in a year, and that's how many pearls I drill. So probably the reason why it never popped up to me at that time. Wicked Collision. Really like this line. The collision line has been good for me from the first. Actually, I didn't throw the first collision. I lied. Sorry. The first collision I never tried. The first collision I tried was the Brutal Collision. Huge fan of that, being the ASIM Solid. It had a little bit of shine on it, so it looked like it was kind of going further down lane than for a Solid, but overall, the way it shaped up and rolled in the pocket, beautiful. Loved it. Was in my bag for the whole season, full year. Obviously retired it over time. Drilled up the Violent Collision. Great right to left ball in terms of creating shape and angle. This is the Crusher. Didn't try. Simply, it's too many balls at that time, I believe. Didn't need anything in that spot. Seen a couple of good bowlers that use it. Not too many in our area, but online, seen a couple of people. Looks good. I would say it's probably a rolly-ish ball where it kind of reads the mid lane hard, but it kind of slows down a little bit. So if you're looking for something that kind of chugs a little bit, and there are balls that do that very well. And I'm going to skip right to that next one because I'm just eyeing it down right now. That's kind of explains that shape very well. It's chuggy, it's early and slow, and it's slower than even my Hazmat was this one, the Cypher. Track Cypher is early, slow. So for the people that kind of want to get the ball to hook and kind of stop and use power to carry and play a rollout, those are probably the good shapes there. I did throw one of our guys' Cypher for fun and experimented with it. It's a little too slow for me, but I can see its use probably more on a sport shot. I just wouldn't be able to use it on a house shot because it's too slow to take out the 10 pin for me. And if I get too far left, same idea, it's just gonna be too slow. And then if I get too far right, it just burns out early, it's also too slow. So everything about these balls it just came off the spot way too slow off the mid lane, and that's why I didn't use it. This is the Emerge. Same reason as the Crusher. Didn't seem like I needed a ball in that spot, in that line at the moment. I think I had my Hazmat, still the original one, so kind of overlapped there. Fireball, kind of same reason with the Messenger. A little clean, a little weak. I believe I had the Tundra Blue Fire, and I'll put that here at the time. And that's simply because I had too many balls in that zone, right? And another ball I'll put here. That's the Arctic Vibe. So I have a couple of radioactive vibes, low end. Really liked it. Same with the Tundra Fire, same with the Rhino Ivory now. So it just seems like some of these lower end balls I don't need too many of. GB5. So this is actually an interesting one too because it's in between here. The reason I'm going to end up putting it here is because it did go out of the bag after a while, is because I did have the Hazmat Solid. But before the Hazmat Solid came out, the GB5 was that mid-tier benchmark ball for me. And that's I know, and you see on tour a lot this year, a lot of people throw that GB5 a lot, and it's good. One reverb. This one I actually wanted to try. Didn't get a chance to, ASIM reasons. Too many ASIMs at the time and still do. So one reverb, a lot of good things. Seen a lot of people that did drill it, love it. Seems like it is a very complement or a similar shape to the Black Widow. And same reason of having already the Black Widows in my bag. Just simply never got to try, but would definitely give it a try. 78D. Obviously, replacement of the purple hammer for the PBA guys, and for me, I like the traditional shape a lot. So, traditional urethane shape was very, very much created with this ball. I'm able to go a lot straighter than my purple. My purple is usually like 5 left of it, more left to right, and then right to left of the shape. The black one, I kind of play more direct on a shorter pattern. I can go, ride it up 5 a lot easier. Purple, I might go like 7 to 3, kind of like more of a baby swing. But because the black hammer was able to play more straighter, if I need a shape like that, and depending on the alley or the pattern, if the gutter's in play, the black probably the only ball I take out. People that see me throw it, I also throw that in complement to the red international hammer. So definitely in my go-to list because it's staying in my bag. This one, it's for right now here, and it's definitely moving up as it goes. So before I do that, I'm just gonna have it here because it's very similar to the NV Tour. And the NV Tour has been in my bag a lot longer. I've drilled 2 or 3 NV Tours. So this one, if it's gonna play out the way the NV Tour is and it's slowly getting to that spot, it's definitely coming up here. And right now it's just because it's so new, I haven't had too many chances to throw it, but every time I've thrown on a sport pattern so far, it looked amazing. So right now it's in my tournament bag for sure. League bag, maybe a little too slow. If I had to split hairs between the Effect Tour and the NV Tour, Effect Tour in my opinion might be a hair earlier and a hair slower than the NV Tour. And that's basically it. Maybe that's why I'm not a super stoked about it yet on a house shot. I still use it, don't get me wrong. When the house shot gets cliffy, and we've all been there, where you move a little left and it feels like your ball's going 60 feet, and when you get it to the dry early and it just looks like it's going to cross over Brooklyn and run away, it blends that a lot better. So I do like that. It just, sometimes when it gets so cliffy and you kind of utilize that to blend the shape, I leave a little bit more 10 pins. But it's working its way up to the GOATed status because I think if I'm trying to retire the NV Tour, that has to be the ball to replace it with. And that's there for me. This one is the low flare. It's in the bag. Very good benchmark ball, I like to say, for a lot of house shots. When it gets down to like some sport conditions, it might be a little too weak. So that being said, it wasn't really a sport tournament ball in the bag, not unless I know it's a medium shorter pattern. But for generally house shots, it was amazing. And I like to use it a lot because it blended out a lot of the shapes. It is a little bit more sharper than my Hazmat Solid, but weaker balls, supposed to be a little sharper. And this is the interesting one. Scorpion Strike. Wasn't actually looking forward to drilling at first because I had the low flare and I felt like I didn't need anything sharper than that, and I didn't look like I wanted it. But at the same time, it's a sim pearl that's stayed in my bag. Used it house sport. Didn't matter, actually stays in the bag, has its spot right underneath everything, and when the Hazmat starts burning out, it's kind of good 1-2 punch between my Hazmat Solid to my Scorpion Strike. A lot of success in league with it, a lot of success even in sport tournaments with it. And for those that's been following my bowling, if you see me bowl in Reno, that was the one I went front 10 with. So That's the ball that I shot 289 on that pattern, and it just clean, retains the energy. Not super sharp, believe it or not, for a pearl, which is why I'm surprised, and I like it a lot. Heckler. It's on my list of ASIMs I don't try because there's too many. And I'm gonna put same with this one. Same reason, mass bias. Interesting one though. It came out a lot duller out of box than I assumed, and it looked pretty good. Just too many ASIMs, or too many bowling balls in general. No doubt, did drill this one. It was in and out of the bag. Reason is because, for me, it was too smooth. For the people that like to jam the track, great. I know off-brand wise, people compare this with the Zen, the original Zen, because the numbers are pretty identical. I could see why. Very early rolly mid lane for the core. Clean cover. So if you want to knock down the cover, which I did to get a better shape out of it, I did, and it looked better. But at the same time, it didn't create enough right to left for me to kind of want me to move left with. And my comfort zone is getting left a little earlier than everyone else and staying inside of everyone. So it was just in and out of the bag. It kind of fit in between my Scorpion Strike and my Hazmat, depending on what it is. But the anger sooner or later, I guess in that case, kind of replaced it. So the reason that went out of the bag was the anger came in. Conspiracy, or radical conspiracy, HK22. Wanted to try only because black solid ASIM, but I have, not on this list, but the goated black solid ASIM and V-Tour. So didn't try, but wanted to because I wonder if it's going to be something similar to that. But if I already have it, why did I even need to try it? This one, Rattler Big Bite. Huge fan of the Rattler line. I'm going to simply just, because of that, put this here as well, the Rattler NU. They just got in and out of the bag just because low-end balls that kind of go pretty quick. The original Rattler, however, the purple one, Rattler Solid, I would put in between the bag and goated. Had a lot of success with that one. So really intrigued and really wanted to throw these two, which is the Rattler Big Fight and the Rattler NU. Both hooked not that much, which is kind of good for the people that's trying to complain about, everything hooking out of the building nowadays. Big Bite was actually a lot smoother than I thought, especially being, hybrid. I assumed it would snap off the spot a lot more than the original Rattler, but it seemed like because it was hybrid, it probably went a little further down lane than the original Solid, and the diff on the core wasn't high, so it didn't look like it was trying to corner right to left super hard. So pretty easy to control. It just simply wasn't really the shape I look for, and it had a use, but I'm not missing it too much when I go in and out of the bag with what I currently have. And the same with the Rattler NU, a little bit too weak. I need to sand it to get the early mid lane roll. I did like this one. I told a lot of people I like the Rattler NU a little bit more than the blue NU at times, because the blue NU shined up really quick. The blue NU was really good, but as soon as it shined up, it just started missing the break point and or getting too sharp off the break. And the Rattler NU seemed like it held the dullness on it after I sanded it a little bit longer. So overall, it just seemed like it's covering less boards right to left. And, I just, maybe for that reason, on the dry conditions that I need it for, it just seemed like it fitted better than the blue NU at the times. And that's why the blue NU is retired. But this one, it was getting in and out of the bag right now anyway, because I drilled this one. Raw Hybrid. The TO Hybrid, good ball. I short pinned this one, so it kind of reenacted a little bit of a urethane, or kind of a similar shape as the NU. So short pin, getting the core to roll up sooner, get the ball to start up sooner, and kind of hold the line a lot longer as it hooked and kind of stopped and mellowed into the pocket. Use it a lot on house shots right now, especially near the end of the year right now when the conditions are kind of getting iffy. So I can stay in a track a lot longer if I want to stay outside of everybody. But if I want to get left, obviously I have the rest of my arsenal to go into. But the raw is doing its job and kind of replaced that NU for me trying to play straighter. Zigzag. I'll put this here. I match up pretty good with radical stuff normally, so that's why I kind of wanted to try, but ASIM stuff, too many, never got a chance to. This raw here, didn't try simply because I already have a raw, just different colors, a little bit different on the cover stock, so didn't need all the raws. This one, really intriguing, real time. I know this one just came out recently, so there's a chance that still gets added to my bag for fun. Looks really good. Seen someone throw it in here in our center, hooks in the mid lane in the right way, but it goes right to left hard. So that being said, it shapes good. So sometimes with pearls, it's like I'm afraid it skips the mid lane, or it hooks so hard that it's hard to control. But because it's hooking hard in the mid lane, it kind of makes me want to be like, oh, as long as it hooks every time, it's good, right? So it's probably something that I might venture out if I want to. I know it's approaching team trials for me for the upcoming year in January, so maybe not adding too many balls in the arsenal right now in this moment, trying to more get used to the current arsenal I have, but that's the only reason it's right here, but maybe I'll get hands on one. Ricochet. One of my partners have it, Ricochet Pearl. Looks good. Sometimes it's hard to tell between the Ricochet and the Vaporize he throws, so I'll put it right beside each other because that's how it kind of feels. Except the Ricochet goes definitely longer than the Vaporize, less overall shape in general. But if you get into friction, the Vaporize goes right to left, but the Ricochet will go right to left even harder just because it's a weaker ball, retains the energy better. Simply put, I just didn't need a shape like that, but it could fit in there if I really want to replace maybe my anger. Kind of similar to that. This one, Archetype Hybrid. Did a video on this one too, a ball review. Liked it a lot. Just came out with the hammer effect and kind of overshadowed the ball. But the Archetype Hybrid was really, really good. Kind of got it down lane for a ASIM for sure, and then kind of continued that right to left shape. I also had the Violent Collision that was kind of there at that time, so I kind of had a couple balls, and then that's why I was just in and out of the bag, but really, really big fan of that shape. Same thing with this one, Stealth Hybrid. I like the original Stealth. Benchmark ball I used last year, the original Stealth, the black one, the Stealth Solid. So this Stealth Hybrid, I assumed it was going to do a similar thing, a little sharper. However, it ended up being a lot sharper. So I think it had the theorem cover on it. So that being said, it just seemed like it was a little too quick off the spot for me to control all the time. Took the cover off, then I liked it a little bit more, put 2000 on it. And it seemed like it was more in between the Hazmat and the Scorpion. So it was like a ball in between a small gap. So instead of having 3 balls in that, I can kind of play around with the 2 I currently have, and that's why I went in and out of the bag, but was definitely a fan of the motion still. It wasn't bad. This one, on the last ball in here on this list, is the Theorem. Theorem Pearl. Obviously, everyone knows about the original Theorem Hybrid. Really, really good ball. But simply put, Theorem Pearl means sharper, and I've seen a couple people throw it. It is sharper than Theorem Pearl. So I didn't really need it, but it looked fun because the Theorem line is going to be a pretty staple line, I think, in the track line right now because of the success I had with the original Theorem. I'd probably be more inclined to try the Theorem Solid if they ever come out with one. I can't see why they won't after coming out with the Pearl and the Hybrid. But I just didn't need a quick right-to-left shape with an ASIM ball. I have the hammer effect to do that, and it seemed like that was it. And I think that's the last ball. So yeah, you can even see it right now, and these are currently definitely still in my bag. That's 11 balls right there, and that doesn't even include a couple of the ones that I haven't been able to retire or the purple hammers or anything like that. So that's the arsenal that I'm currently sitting with on top of a couple pieces. These are a ball that's been transitioning in and out with me in the year. And as I said, those are the reasons why I didn't try but wanted to, or didn't try at all with all the other balls. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about my list. Maybe you guys have more information on, what works, or, you have questions for me on why I didn't try specifically, or you want me to compare a ball to something of your current arsenal, and maybe I can give you more input on whether or not that makes sense as a replacement or as a complement. But these are all the balls that came out in 2024, and we're looking to close off the year good and looking to see what comes next in 2025 from the team of Brunswick. Thanks for your time, guys. That's my list. Bye now.